Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Corey, better known as the Seaman, and I want to welcome you to another special edition of the Seaman's Cinema Sit-Down. That's right, folks. The Marvel shirt is still on. We are still in the comic book corner. Yes, Avengers Infinity War has come. It has arrived much like Destiny. Opening to a thunderous open on Thursday night and Friday and Saturday, and again today on Sunday. I'm sure this movie's making all the money, and tons of people now have finally seen Avengers Infinity War. As you all know, I saw it Thursday night, absolutely loved it, dropped a non-spoiler review, and have had aspirations to want to do a full spoiler review, but there's tons to talk about in this film that while I'm trying to figure out how to do that in a video, I thought, let's not waste time. Everybody was starting to talk about this movie. Everybody wants to talk about this movie that's seen it. Like I said, if you go see it with friends. I went by myself, and it was torturous having to wait like a couple days for other people I knew to go see the movie so I could finally talk about it a little bit. So being that we are now on Sunday, after the opening of Infinity War and the amount of people that have seen it, I didn't want to waste time, so I've opted instead to do some small spoiler videos talking about some of my favorite things from this movie. So I think the best place to start is my top 5 favorite scenes or sequences from the movie. There are tons of moments, right? I could talk for hours about just all the different moments. Remember, I showed you my notebook. Tons and tons of notes from this movie. But there are 5 for me that stand out, I think, a little bit more than the rest. So you guys know the drill. Pull up a chair, take a seat. Today, the Seaman talks about his top 5 favorite things from Avengers Infinity War, and we start off with an awesome girl team-up. Toward the back half of the second act, right as we head into the big finale, the battle on Wakanda starts. We find tons of great comic book things in this movie. One of them is the Outriders, the alien race that Thanos sends to Wakanda to fight the Wakandans and the Avengers and everybody who's standing in his way, so that they can get the Mind Stone. These characters are done so well, right? The concept of the Outriders are creatures that basically will kill themselves to serve Thanos. Exactly how it's portrayed in the movie. Very, very well done. But once they break through, we get this awesome kind of war sequence. We've never really seen something like this. But this like hand-to-hand combat war battle sequence, that's amazing. It's fast-paced. There's action everywhere. But then we get to zone in on one spot in particular. Leading into this, Wanda at this point in the movie, Scarlet Witch, is being held responsible for keeping an eye on Vision. And if the Thanos and his cronies, the children of Thanos or Black Order, and all of these Outriders, if they get to Vision, Wanda is supposed to, with her magic, destroy the stone because she's the only one that has the power to do it. Vision's figured this out, and she's kind of chilling up top with Vision, and she starts to see things go crazy down below, so she decides to join them. What a wonderful open to this sequence of the movie. Wanda comes down. There are these kind of like underground ships that come under the Wakandan shield that's around Wakanda. So it comes from underneath, and Wanda comes down to save the day. Picks 2 of these things up, man, with her powers, throws them down. They just wipe out a ton of Outriders. And you see Okoye turn I think it's the Black Panther, and she goes, "Why was she up there all this time?" Really awesome. I love Wanda just in general in this movie. Her powers are so much stronger. You can tell the 2 years off have really allowed her to hone her skills. So she comes out, boom, with this massive bang into the battle. And then we get a little Wanda versus Proxima Midnight. That's awesome, man. It's fast-paced. I love countering Proxima's blue with Wanda's red. And you kind of get this cool, quick little sequence between them, and Proxima puts Wanda in a bad way. And it looks like it's all over, and who shows up? But good old ScarJo. Black Widow shows up, and Okoye. And we proceed to get these 3 women teaming up to have this kick-ass fight with Proxima Midnight. Just so much fun, man. And it's like one of those things where after a lot of this filming has happened, a portion of the women have come out and said, we want to do a women team-up movie. And I tell you, I understand why, man. This sequence during this battle is just so much fun. I mean, you're just utilizing everything, right? The quickness of Black Widow, Okoye and her spear, Wanda and her magic. It's just, it plays so well, and they play off each other. And it's just such a fun sequence that ends with Wanda throwing Proxima Midnight up into one of those underground ships, and it kind of eats her up, and a little blue blood flies on Black Widow's face, and she's like, that was gross. But just a really fun, awesome sequence that featured 3 of our strongest women. And it was fun to see them team up, and now I want a women's Marvel team up. Make it happen. Because on screen together, man, just the 3 of them, right? That's not even everybody. But those 3, so much fun on screen together. Absolutely, just as soon as it happened, I was like, oh, that's a big note, like big bright spot from the movie. Absolutely love that sequence. Staying in that realm, if you will, of Wakanda during so there are 2 main battles toward the end of this movie. One takes place on Thanos' homeworld Titan, while the other battle is taking place in Wakanda. And in Wakanda, as I mentioned, Wanda is awesome. Oh my god, Scarlet Witch is easily one of my favorite characters in this movie. Like I said, I love that her powers have kind of really come into their own, even more so than what we got in Civil War. I love her. And she has another humongous moment in this movie. And it's one of the most visually stunning moments, and it's one of the top moments of the movie. As I mentioned before the girl fight, Wanda is in charge of destroying the Mind Stone if Thanos is getting too close. So we get to a point where Wanda is in the woods with Vision, who's been attacked several times and stabbed by Corvus Glaive several times. And, while he's out there, Wanda shows up to kind of save him. And he gets to a point where he looks Wanda in the face and is like, look, that's it. It's time. He's like, I know it's not fair. It shouldn't be you. But it has to be you. You have to destroy this. And Wanda, rightfully so, she loves Vision. Can't bring herself to do it at first. And there's this wonderful callback to earlier in the movie where Wanda is kind of reading what's going on in the stone, and she then asks him. He's like, tell me what you're feeling. He's like, I can't, I feel. She goes, I can't feel anything. Like I just feel you. And they have this wonderful callback where, like, he's like, don't worry, it won't hurt. I won't feel it because I'll just be feeling you. It's like, oh man, dude, like rip your heart out of your chest. Like here, this really sweet moment with Vision and Wanda at the beginning comes all the way back full circle at the end, flipped right before Wanda has to kill Vision. And this sequence, man, is gorgeous. She's using her, her red magic powers on the stone. And in the meanwhile, Thanos shows up from Titan and starts fighting everybody. We get this really awesome shot of him going to punch, I think it's his left hand, punch Cap in the face with the gauntlet, and Cap grabs it and starts to force him back. And Thanos' face is like, wait, what? Like, this is a human, just pure willpower. Really, really nice moment for Cap mixed into this Wanda moment. That leads to a right-handed hook that knocks Cap out. Thanos then dispatches of all the other Avengers that are kind of in his way until he gets to Wanda. And at this point, Wanda hasn't destroyed the stone, so she turns and goes one hand, hold off Thanos, while the other hand destroys the Mind Stone. And it is this gorgeous shot, man, of her just holding, like, Pat with both spaces. And she does it. She holds off Thanos and destroys the Mind Stone. Epic moment in the movie, man, and it belongs to Scarlet Witch, which I loved. She is clearly becoming one of the strongest characters in the cinematic universe at this point, and everything they do with her is just so well conceived. I love her visualizations. But then after, of course, destroying the Mind Stone, and okay, whatever happens from here on out, we've done our job. And Thanos is like, no, you haven't. I have the Time Stone. Rewinds it all back, takes the Mind Stone for himself, and dispatches of everybody. But that sequence, man, of Wanda holding off Thanos while simultaneously destroying the Mind Stone. Oh, man, what a powerful, beautiful scene. Easily one of my top 5 and comes in at number 4. Number 3, This moment, this tells you how powerful this moment in the movie is to be third on this list, and it happens in the first 5 minutes of the movie. We open with Thanos arriving on the Asgardian ship, right where we ended in Thor Ragnarok, and you know, Thanos puts an end to things there real quick. He's just destroyed all the Asgardians. He's brutalized Thor at this point. He literally, there's a body laying on the ground while Thanos has this kind of opening monologue, and he just picks it up. You think it's a random body, and it's Thor. He has destroyed Thor, and they kind of lock him up, and Loki comes and basically tries to barter, like, hey, don't kill my brother, I'll give you the Tesseract. And while he's talking to Thanos, he kind of drops, it's like, yeah, well, that might not happen, because we have a Hulk. And in the first 5 minutes of this movie, we get Hulk versus Thanos, and it's marvelous. Hulk just comes in, raging, boom, bashes him into a wall, starts just beating on Thanos, and you see a couple of the children of Thanos, the Black Order, start to kind of be like, uh-oh. And Ebony Maw, who is absolutely amazing, so well conceived. Motion capture, much like Thanos, is gorgeous on Ebony Maw. We'll talk about him in another video. But I just love this, man. He just sits there and he goes, let him have his fun. And while he takes the punches from Hulk, I want to say he smiles a little bit. There's a little bit of a grin, and then he goes off. And they structured this portion of the fight like a boxing match. Thanos just comes in, and he's like, pop, 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 pop. Like, so tactical, just picks Hulk apart, picks him up, smashes him down on the ground. And that's it, unconscious. I mean, it's literally a 30-second scene. But it is so visually stunning, such a powerhouse way to start the movie. And right as Thanos, of course, is about to, dispatch of Hulk altogether, we get our first big save and first big death. Heimdall, and this also closes up a kind of like loop that's been kind of like a plot hole that's kind of existed in how Thor traveled without the Bifrost all those years. Well, we get to see why. We find out Heimdall has access to dark magic. And basically says, dark magic, allow me to do this one more time. And he, utilizing black magic, bifrosts Hulk out of the ship, sends him to Doctor Strange's Sanctum Sanctorum. And as soon as that happens, Thanos is like, that was a mistake. And he kills Heimdall. Oh my god. Talk about rip your chest out of your heart. But that comes as a direct result of just an unbelievable visual fight sequence between Thanos and Hulk. And like I said, it only lasts about 30 seconds, and it's that impactful. It's so awesome when it's going on. One, it just shows you how powerful Thanos is, how brutal he is, and how tough he's going to be to beat, in this movie. And that fight, with him and Hulk, short but amazing, left a huge impact, obviously, as it's number 3 on our list. Number 4 is one of the longest. It's in the finale of the movie. Like I mentioned, there are 2 fights going on. One on Thanos' homeworld Titan, one on Wakanda. The Titan sequence is amazing. We get Iron Man, Spider-Man, Doctor Strange, Star-Lord, Drax, Mantis. All up on Titan, and they're kind of coming up with some sort of idea. They know that Thanos is on his way there, because their ships have kind of just been pulled there. They were riding on the children of Thanos' ships, so it brings them to Titan, and they try to come up with a plan. And Star-Lord's like, yeah, that's great, but not a very good plan. They end up going with his plan, and his plan is phenomenal. Doctor Strange meets Thanos, kind of does some talking, kind of stalls a little bit, and then mentions the word we. And Thanos is like, we? And all of a sudden, Tony comes and throws a giant building, like piece of building, on top of Thanos. And he's like, well, that was simple. Star-Lord's like, yeah, if you were trying to piss him off. And you get this great action battle sequence, man, on Titan. Obviously it's cut back and forth because we jump between there and Wakanda. But if you stretch the whole Titan sequence together, oh my gosh, man, so much fun. The teamwork, to get all these different players doing different things is just great. And we see Thanos do some amazing things in this. Maybe the most well-conceived thing that Thanos does in the whole entire movie is while he's fighting them, he goes to take out Tony. and he brings the glove up and does one of these. Oh, I think it's his left hand. But like does one of these and accesses the Power Stone to destroy a moon. And then all just with his hand, accesses the Space Stone to then move the moon as like a punch, and literally punches Tony with a moon. It is unbelievable. I mean, talk about a visual. And then eventually it leads to a callback in the scene itself where Tony comes back and he like is looking at Thanos. He's like, "You hit me with another moon, I'm gonna lose it." And then we get this awesome sequence that takes place where everybody is teaming up to basically pin Thanos so they can rip the gauntlet off his hand. We get these awesome little comic book things. Doctor Strange comes in with the Crimson Bands of Sidorak. Oh man, like just so cool visually to see these red bands kind of lock up one of his arms. Star-Lord throws his gravity little device that he uses to get the Power Stone in the original Guardians, and that kind of locks down Thanos' other arm, while Spidey is using webs to kind of pull him. Drax comes in and cuts him at the knee, and then Strange opens a portal, drops Mantis right on top of him. Mantis tries to put him to sleep. And as soon as she does, she's like, "You guys have to hurry. He is so strong. I don't know how long I can hold it." And this leads, Tony calling like Spider-Man over, like, "Help me with the gauntlet." And the gauntlet's like almost off. And for no reason, Star-Lord makes maybe the biggest mistake of the whole movie. Now, granted, yes, loves Gamora, knows that Thanos took Gamora, doesn't know where Gamora is. So he's trying to get that out of him while Mantis has control of him. And naturally, Thanos tells him that he had to kill her in order to get the Soul Stone. Which is just a heartbreaking moment in the movie, man. I talk about just punching you in the chest. Both for Thanos and for us. But, he tells Star-Lord that he killed Gamora, and Star-Lord snaps. And Tony can see it happening. He's like, "Quill, chill out." And he just starts going to town and beating up Thanos. Why that's happening, boom, Tony gets in there and kind of stops him and is like, "Quill, we're almost out of this. Like, stop." And then Thanos wakes up and just lays waste, man. Spider-Man almost has the glove off, and Thanos, like, grabs it with his thumb and his finger, rips him, punches Spidey, and just starts, like, just laying waste to everybody. He just kind of, he knocks everybody around to a degree where we get this awesome sequence with the Iron Spider. Spider-Man's Iron Spider suit kind of, the legs just pop out whenever they're necessary. And we get a sweet sequence of him saving Mantis, who's unconscious, wrapping her up with the legs, and then moving and using his webs to kind of web her up. Then Drax and like everyone's kind of floating around, and he's like just webbing everybody. He's like, "I'm sorry, I forgot your names," because the whole movie Peter is introducing himself. So you get like this really funny kind of awesome Spider-Man sequence of movement, and then we get Tony versus Thanos. And like I said, this is why this is number 2, because this sequence is just jam-packed, so much stuff. But we get this awesome scene, man, where Tony is just, his suit is so powered up. He's got nanobot technology, which makes you go, "Oh, Wakanda," but this does stuff I've never seen Wakandan stuff do. He has the ability to, his suit comes out of, he's put a new chest plate in to store all the nanobots. Suit comes out, but he can manipulate it. He can create a shield, which he does against Thanos. He can create his blasters to be bigger, to give him a bigger jet jump. Just all the things that are moving on his parts. And he does this awesome sequence where, like, he uses his leg to kind of trap up Thanos' arm, pins it to his hand to the ground, and then punches him in the face and gives him a little cut right here. Very Rocky IV-esque, if you will. Where Thanos kind of goes like this, and you see he's cutting, and it's just one drop of blood. He goes, "All that for a drop of blood." And then he just starts laying waste to Tony so hard, so much so that the nanobots are starting to fall apart, and Tony's just turning into himself, not Iron Man. And he tries to stab him with his hand, and Thanos breaks it, stabs him in the stomach, and basically says, like, "Half the world's gonna be gone, Tony, but I hope they remember you, because you fought valiantly." He, gets the, and before killing him, Doctor Strange basically goes, "Hey, look, I'll give you the Time Stone. I tried to trick you once with a fake. I'll give you the Time Stone, just don't kill Tony." Very, very strange thing, and that, again, something else we'll have to talk about in another video, in regards to the ending of this movie. And in this sequence, Doctor Strange has seen the future. So you'd have to think that everything he's doing is because he knows what outcome they need. So he saves Tony, Thanos pieces out. But oh my god, man, like just the best action-packed sequence maybe in the whole movie. I mean, there's so many different elements from all the different characters. It's probably the best set of teamwork in the movie, and it's just so much fun. I mean, like I said, you get these iconic shots. I mean, Thanos punching Tony with a moon, you know, the Iron Spider, just everything in the scene works, and rightfully so belongs at number 2 on my top 5, which brings us to number 1. And this is just, oh man, I tell you, like I said, opening night, crowd was electric. It was on fire. When this moment happened, the place went nuts. Thor knows the only way to beat Thanos is he needs a new hammer. So he goes and meets up with, I think it's Etri, who's a dwarf, who basically runs one of the biggest forges through through a living star. When they get there, of course, the star is dead. They kind of get this fun sequence of Rocket and Thor, where they kind of get it started up or whatever. But once they get there, you know, it's because he needs to make a new hammer. And the dwarf in the movie is played by Peter Dinklage. And the best part about it being Peter Dinklage, because he's a real life dwarf, is that dwarfs in the comic book world are humongous. He looks like a giant next to Thor. And Rocket and Groot, and it's absolutely hysterical. It pops so well, and then you get this whole awesome sequence, like I said, of them starting the star up, Thor opening the eye and getting blasted with the light, the star's beam, which melts the metal that Peter Dinklage's Yetri needs to make the hammer. And when he does, Thanos took his hands, so his hands are metal, but he breaks it apart, and then he can't find the head. The entire movie, Groot has been playing Defenders, old handheld video game. And for whatever reason, when this happens, all of a sudden Groot kind of snaps out and is like, oh my. And he goes and he grabs the 2 pieces of the hammer, puts them together, uses his hand, growth to grow the arm of the hammer and lock it together and cut it off. Such a cool sequence. Boom. Thor has Stormbringer, which we know from the comics, was in a different timeline of Thor, but it's supposed to be like the ultimate Mjolnir, and it's so awesome. When he comes into the fight, he joins Wakanda right in the middle of that sequence where things are going not great for our heroes. Thor shows up. He has the ability to call the Bifrost now with the hammer. He shows up on Wakanda, and he just throws freaking Stormbringer, man, and it spins and just cuts. It's kind of half axe, half like ballpoint hammer. Just cuts through all of these bad guys, man. Just one throw. Then he gets this awesome scene where he jumps up, and then meanwhile he's got all the lightning power going. He's glowing all over the place. He comes up and he does like a Thor smash at one point, where the lightning just explodes everything, and everything that's going on with Thor and Stormbringer is just gorgeous looking. And then we get maybe to the best eye-popping moment of the movie, where Thanos is on Wakanda, and he's kind of using the gauntlet to shoot a beam at Thor to try to stop him. And Thor just throws Stormbringer like that, man, and it just cuts right through the beam. It goes all the way through the Infinity Gauntlet beam. Like, Thanos is supposed to be the most powerful being on the planet with almost all the stones. At this point, he has 5 of the 6. He has all 6 at this point, rather. He's just gotten the Mind Stone from Vision. And Thor comes all the way through, hits him right in the chest, man. And Thor comes flying down, grabs it, pushes it in further, and he's like, I told you that you would die for that. Because he kills Loki and Heimdall right in front of Thor, almost in like a show. And Thor is pissed. And it looks like he's got him, man. Like, you're like, holy crap. Like, no wonder it's Avengers Infinity War, not Part 1, Part 2, because Thanos is done for. And as he's kind of pushing it through his chest, you hear Thanos, like, kind of coughing and trying to say something. He goes, you should have gone for the head. And he goes, and then uses the Power Stone, or the Space Stone, to disappear. He teleports himself somewhere else, and it's gone. But with the snap of his finger, in the Infinity Gauntlet, so left hand again, jeez, I don't like the left-handed stuff, but with the gauntlet, snaps his finger, and just like the comic books, wipes out half of the universe, which leads to like the most heartbreaking of sequences, which we won't talk about. I don't want to spoil the end, but that snap of the finger right out of the comic books, and just kind of caps off this whole Stormbringer sequence that is glorious. Like I said, I think the Thor storyline, where he, like I said, his brother, his best friend, are killed in front of him. It just sets this kind of revenge path that he goes on, and Thor is awesome in this whole movie. And the Stormbringer sequence, from the comedy with Peter Dinklage and Groot and Rocket to the just massive, devastating action and power that Thor possesses on Wakanda, just breathtakingly beautiful. Absolutely, by far my favorite scene in the whole movie. Thor working with the Stormbringer, man, and the powers that he has with the new hammer. Amazing. So that's it, folks. That is my top 5 sequences from Avengers Infinity War. And we've already been talking for like 20 minutes. Thus, why you can understand I'm not getting to a spoiler review super quick, because there is so much more I didn't even touch on. This movie is packed. Go see it. Enjoy the heck out of it. Take your friends. Take your family. Just go have fun. Watch this movie. Support, this movie, because it is an marvelous epic of culminating 10 years. And if you've watched the movie, these 5 scenes alone are just a small portion of how amazing and how much awesomeness there is in this movie. So go check it out if you haven't yet. And if you haven't and you watched this video, I'm sorry, I just spoiled like the 5 best things in the movie. That's it though, man. What did you guys think? Tell me what your favorite moments from Avengers Infinity War are. This is a spoiler review video, right? This is a spoiler video. So feel free, go spoiler crazy. Let me know what your favorite moments are. Like I said, there are a ton in this movie, and I only covered 5 of them. So let me know, hit those comments. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. And as always, if you are new to the Seaman Cinema Sit Down, hit that subscribe button and the little bell right afterwards so you get alerts every time I make a new video. For the Seaman Cinema Sit Down, I am the Seaman. I am signing off. Peace!